Hey, friends. I'm here to talk to you today about a serious topic, um, but I think one that will be so instrumental to your life, your growth, your healing, because it's been certainly been that way for me in my life. This year, 2024, has to be the year that you forgive them. Now, I don't know who them is, or forgive that person. I don't know if it's a parent. Forgive your mom, your dad, a grandparent, an ex, a friend. If you don't leave 2024 feeling a complete sense of forgiveness towards that person, then at least let 2024 be the year that you at least start the process. Now, I know for most of us, especially as believers, intellectually we know and we understand that forgiveness is important. But here's the thing. In Matthew 6, verse 14 and 15, Jesus tells us that we ought to forgive those that do us wrong, trespass against us, according to the King James version. And it's like a simple formula. It's like a give and take. You forgive them, then your Father forgives you. You don't forgive them, then your Father doesn't forgive you. And the level of wrong and hurt that someone may have done to you is really not what's in question here. Because I remind you that at the end of the day, sin is sin. And if someone has done you wrong, there's not always a level of wrong. Well, it's not as bad as, I don't know, someone sexually abusing you. Well, that's worse than someone betraying you. At the end of the day, if you've been hurt in a deep way, then someone has wronged you. So I'm not here to determine what is a bigger sin or a less sin, because we have to remember that Jesus died for all sin. So someone that has trespassed against you is someone who has sinned against you. And why would God say, well, you have to forgive them in order for me to forgive you when you mess up? Is because it's literally a circle, right? So I can point my finger at someone who has done me wrong, but who's pointing a finger at me because I've done them wrong. And the same forgiveness that we would want, not just from others, but from God himself, we can't then turn around and withhold it from someone else. And forgiveness, I'm not downplaying it in any way. It's one of the hardest things, because when you've been deeply hurt, devastated, betrayed, violated, you say, how on earth am I going to forgive this person? The world and culture tells you, forgive, but you don't quite forget. Forgiveness that God offers us when we truly repent is forgiveness that he has no memory of what we've done. Now, whenever you sin, whenever you've done wrong, God's forgiveness doesn't necessarily protect you from the consequences of sin. And I've talked about this before. It's like taking a ball and rolling it down the hill. You could decide halfway, you know what, I don't think I want to do that, but you've already started things in process. So things are going to happen. So we all face consequences one way or the other. But the ultimate consequence that we don't ever want to face is permanent separation from God, eternal death, damnation to our soul. We don't want that. And I believe that that's why God is so urgent in saying, forgive others the same way that you would want me to forgive you. Because when we hold on to bitterness, when we hold on to malice, when we keep replaying in our minds over and over again what's been done to us, and we are filled with that anger, And I'm not speaking at you, I'm speaking with you, because for a long time, there were things that I carried heavy in my heart. I come from a big family. I come from a working family. I come from, immigrant parents, as well as me being an immigrant myself, coming to a new country, trying to settle in, being caught between, assimilating to a new culture and environment, and your parents wanting you to hold on to ideals of your original culture, parents trying to settle in. I mean, and a whole lot that goes on in any family. There's no family that doesn't have any type of turmoil, dysfunction, or trauma. And everyone is affected differently. And sometimes you look at your own parents and you don't necessarily like or appreciate how they handled themselves or how they handled the family or you in the process. And we can carry those things, or we're always shaped by those things. But at what point do you decide that I want peace more than I want to carry this anger? And that's where forgiveness comes in. So I know forgiveness is hard, but this is the year that you have to make it happen, and you have to at least start the process. Also want to remind you that forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation, but you are releasing yourself from the anger that can carry you, and you are releasing yourself to be reconnected with God, reconciled with God, and more importantly, you are releasing yourself so that there's not a wedge between you and God, so that the intimacy that you have between you and God is not messed up, so you can feel comfortable going to God when you mess up, knowing that He can hear you, He can forgive you, and you can be free. Think of forgiveness as freedom. All right, so that's my message today. That's my encouragement to you and to me. Let us forgive them so that our Father can forgive us. Stay encouraged, friends, and I'll talk to you soon.